And happy Sunday, everyone. Good evening. Welcome to the Expert Exchange. This is episode 6, and we are having our second edition of the lecturer's table. It's good to have you all on the show. If you are here, please, we would like you to say hi and welcome us on the live. And I welcome our special guest speaker. She's an amazing lecturer, and I'm glad that she's here with us today. I also want to welcome my co host. You are a wonderful person, Miss Anne. It's good to have you on the show again. Thank you very much for coming. And to the audience, I am glad you all tuned in again for episode 6. But sorry for the little delay. These things can always happen. We are so sorry. All right, so we're gonna get started right now. And before we do that, I want Dr. Uzoma to say hi to our audience. Hello, Dr. Uzoma.
Hello everyone. Hello, happy Sunday.
It's good to
So
have
glad
you
to
on
be
the
here.
show,
Thank you
Dr.
for having me, Nana.
Thank you. All right, we are glad to have you. And over to you, Miss Anne.
Hello, our beautiful and amazing people. Thank you so much for yet another episode. We are so delighted to come this far. You give us the strength to keep showing up every by Sunday. We don't take it for granted. We really, really appreciate. Once again, we're so sorry, the Expert Exchange team. Sometimes the network issues can really mess you up, and there is nothing you can do about it. But they say better late than never, and of course, that's why we're here. So over to our guest, we have a doctor. Her name is Dr. Uzoma Elizabeth Egu Okoro, and I will take you quickly through her bio so that we get to know who is our guest, what does she do, and in details. So today we have our guest, Dr. Elizabeth Okoro, who is an educator, a writer, a researcher. Oh my goodness, her research interests navigate the interdisciplinary facets of applied linguistics, African studies, rhetoric, and media. She's currently a faculty member at Pan Atlantic University, that is in Lagos, where she teaches communication in English and business English. She is also passionate about community development and is the founder of two volunteer projects. Number one, Rocket Speech Empowerment Initiative, and of course, Edu Powered. She believes in the capacity of education to transform the society and that quality education should be accessible to all members of the society. And she also enjoys writing creative fiction and non-fiction. Almost, we can tell that our guest is fully packed. So, over to you, Nana. I invite you to take us through the first question. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you. I see that our guest speaker is fully packed. She's someone
Definitely.
who has it all. She has it all. Right. And our very first question for her is let's take it back and hear her story. I like to always ask this question because we all started from somewhere, so we need to hear the story. And the question is, what's your story, ma'am? How did you get into education and research? What was there? I mean, was there a particular moment that sparked your passion? Was there a particular moment that sparked your passion?
Okay, thank you. Well, okay, let me start with this. So when I entered the university, I don't think I really had it clear cut what I wanted to do. I studied English, bachelor's degree at Unilag, and of course, for many people, how they got into English was because maybe they couldn't make it to law or another course. So that was also my story. But then all I knew was that I wanted to pass well. I wanted to do well. I wanted to excel, do my best in school. But then when I got into my third year, my second year actually, I felt that I really did like what I was seeing. I liked my lecturers. I liked the scope of their work. I liked that they could write. I didn't even know so much about research then. I liked that they could write, they could publish, that they could do. I saw my lecturers do a number of things alongside teaching, and I felt, what, this won't be a bad idea to go into. And then I kept on going for. I mean, anyone who knew me as a final year, I think my mind was made up. I knew that I wanted to go into the lecturing field. I wanted to be a lecturer, even though I didn't know too much of what it entails. I don't know if I knew from the beginning. I wonder if I would have changed it up a bit. Like, okay, maybe I want to go into it later. But yes, and anyone who knew me as a final year person, I would know that, okay, I'd always say yes, I wanted to lecture. I want to go into the education field, because I liked the fact I like the field of education. I have seen firsthand how education can transform people, change their life trajectories, people from different backgrounds, and they come into the school and the school reforms them. And so I just wanted to be part of it. And my lecturers formed, part of my success stories. There are people who I can't help but just, call their names out as to how I formed, my life, everything. So I just thought, what, I also want to be a part of my university student success story. I want to, participate in the career trajectory, and I call the university a finishing school. So I just felt, I want to be a part of this. Then in terms of research, I mean, that one came with the lecturing job, but then yes, you'd have to find your passion, and I have found my passion in research. But I think what keeps me in the if you want to use the term passion, is that I like the fact that I can bring novelty into any study. I like to investigate language use. I I like to sit down and just make assumptions, conclusions, about you know how people speak, what the language means, dialect, accents, aspect of sociolinguistics. So, yes, I think that's what I can say about that. Yes.
That's a good one. An inspiring journey, honestly. It's always amazing how one moment or experience can ignite a very lifelong passion for all of us when it comes to education. I'm one person who wanted to study law in the university. For once, I just but it happened that I found myself doing or studying English, and here I am. I'm actually an English teacher. It's okay.
Oh,
It's okay.
nice, fellow English comrade. That's nice.
It's a ask me. I still want to
Yeah,
go back to law. I don't know if I can always do that, but this is something
it's possible.
I have. Possible, right? It's possible.
Yes, I have a friend who did that. I have a friend who did that, and she just completed. I think, yeah, she graduated this year. She finished her English from Unilag, went back, did masters, went back, started to do law from, I think, 200 level or so. So yes, she's done.
So there
Yes.
is still hope for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so for me, there's still hope for someone out there who is listening to also think that, oh, because I had this going on, is it possible for me to go back and start all over and all of that? But it's good to hear that we can always do. So I'm going to consider going back to study law, and it's not gonna be an easy job, but it's
Sure.
something that I will do about it. I'll consider. So we have people here with us. I see Deborah. Hello, Deborah. Thank you, Ratio. They are all here. The Soro says hi. Thank you all. I see Madam Tonia, the person saying hi. It's good to have you all on the show. Thank you all for joining us. And remember, if you have any questions, that you want a guest to answer, it is time for you to ask those questions. Now, let's move on to the second question, and or the second question rather. This is very important for me because I'm considering doing a PhD too. I know I'm considering so many things. Considering doing law, I'm considering doing a PhD too because I have a
Not bad.
master's
You can do it
already.
all.
Already, I'm considering doing a PhD too. If you should forgive me.
Right. But it's a good one. It's a good one,
So,
really. And if that's what you want to do, please go ahead. Please go ahead. I always encourage everyone who tells me, "Yeah, I want to do this, but I don't know if I can." Just start.
easy. Having the master's wasn't an easy one, I must tell you. And sometimes when I remember PhD students back then will always say this thing is difficult. It's not an easy thing to do a PhD. And then when I remember it, I'm like, oh my god, are you sure I want to go back to do it? And then I know that Madam Antonia, she's here. She's my classmate in school, and one of the lecturers will always say, Doctor Nina, Doctor Nina. I will say, oh sir, please, I am not done yet. Master calling me a doctor, please, please, please. It's well. So the PhD journey can be very tough. I've always heard that from people. What kept
Mm.
you going? Any advice for others thinking of taking the leap? People like me.
Okay. Yes. First off, I'll say just start. There's no perfect time. There's no perfect time. There's no. I mean, it's never going. There's never going to be a time where it's going to be easier. It is tough. It is tough. And but one thing is that when you then decide to start, if you have your family, your work, everyone has to actually be on ground to help you. Like it's a communal thing. Everyone has to know that yes, you may not be available at all times. You may be away. You may have your downtimes. There are times where you just, you cannot attend every event. You can't do it. So that support has to be there. Family support, I a firm believer that family support has to be there. That's the first thing. Then also know that the end goal is near. I know some people it could really stretch for a long time, but just always have it at the back of your mind that there's one day it's just going to be like a thing of the past. You're going to recall it like a memory. I'm going to say, oh, I remember when. And by the time you have that mindset, it could really, keep you going. Okay, and another thing is to have a realistic goals and realistic time frames. As much as we want to save the world and save everyone, you have to know that it's a limited time frame. Okay, so you're making smart choices. You're also maybe asking people who have done worked that way before, how did they do it? You're learning from their mistakes. And people are always so supportive to also give advice as to how they went about it. That really helped me. I had people who came before me who walked that path before me who told me, okay, you know what, Uzama, you just have to do like this. You have to, try and do so. I had that clear. Another thing is make sure you get a supervisor who has your best interest. When you did your masters may have just been like would I say it's just like an added work of your bachelor's degree. Okay. For PhD, most of the time it's a solo run. It's a solo run between you and your supervisor. So you have to have someone who has your back, who has your best interests, who you align with. And the thing is, when we talk about alignment, we look at it in terms of, okay, just research and know, okay, we have similar research. But for me, Alignment also has to do with, you guys just have, if it's the Gen Zs, they'll say you have, matching vibes. Like your vibes are going, you're together. That it has that, there's a, their defined path for you is the same as yours. So someone you can add, you can, that can stand for you at every point. That when they look through your work, they are going to give you best solid advice. You know that they have done certain things that, okay, you yourself, will want to do later. If you don't have that in a supervisor, that's fine. But you then have to have someone or people who are around that field that you're also looking up to, that can help you, that you can ask questions, from, and then just try to stay happy. Just try to stay happy. Try as much as possible. Um, don't allow it to dim your happiness, your shine. Just try to keep going. It will move, and you will get there. So that's my advice. Yeah.
I like the last part of your statement when you said try to be happy because it can be frustrating, and that's why you said to be
Yeah.
to be happy
Yeah.
very much, ma. I think we have someone who has a question here for you. She said, "How can someone become a good story writer or a writer?" Oh, okay, wow.
Oh, nice, nice, nice. Okay. Well, I haven't even published many, but I'll tell you something. If you have the passion for writing, that's one thing that will keep you. That passion to write. Another thing is to read as much as you write. So if you, I think it was Wale Soyinka who said something like that, but I can't really remember. And he was, if you gather 7, 8, or 9 books and say, you know what, I want to read this before I then go into writing my story. Trust me, by the time you're writing, you're gonna just, it's just going to flow better. Okay, somehow, somewhere, you're just, and that's why you read some people's work, even great writers. Now you read some works and you can say, oh, I can hear this author's voice in their head, or this other author's voice in their head. That's because, of course, they're also reading too, and they are taking in these things, and when they put it out there, they are reflecting a number of voices. But reading also helps you better your craft. Okay, your craft, and right, you're steadily seeing how other people write. So yes, that's one way I feel. Another thing is, just continue. Just continue. If you get, you may get rejections. You get, in fact, I'll tell you, I was telling myself something, that, you know what, I want to probably go through my mail and just click on, oh, the just type a search button on, we regret to inform you, and see how many comes up. And truly, there's that happens. Even I have mentors who will tell me, there are times when I get so down, like, I just got rejections, and so it's like, my mentor, one of my mentors, like, even I am getting rejection. So why are you crying? Stand up and send it again, or rework it. And also look at the number
Valid,
of,
yeah.
people who are writing down. They will tell you that the people would always have something to say, but you would always have your audience. That's one thing I can assure you. There are people who will look at your work and be like, I connect to this, and there are people who will be like, nah. So you have your audience, you write for them, that's it.
I think I'm doing that at home. I'm taking the advice, writing. Keep writing, whether you get rejections or not. You just need to keep writing. One day it's going to click, and one person, there's going to be a yes one day. That's what
Yes.
I do. That's
I have a
very
mentor
much
who would
my
always tell me, you only need one yes. She'll tell me, you know
yes.
what? Yeah, you only need one yes. So yeah.
All, all in for you. You've just gotten what you want. All right, over to you, Miss. You can ask the other questions.
Yes, I'm just listening to Dr. Uzoma, and one thing is standing out for me that in everything you need a mentor. You need someone who has already been there to guide you, because there is this common saying that says, "If you go alone, you go fast, but if you go with someone, you go far." You see, so for you to be able to reach the
Yeah.
far that we aim, you got to have someone. And the way you have really emphasized the part of being joyous, then sometimes it's so hectic. You just wake up and that morning things are not working out. But even the word of God tells us, rejoice in the Lord always. I say
Yeah.
rejoice. So it also has a purpose. It also influence our lives. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Uzama. And I'm really
Yeah.
taking that. I need to get someone who has been there so that I can also learn from them. They say the shortcut to success is learning from the experience, right? So next to over to our next question. You get hooked in learning and communication. Maybe you can tell us what made you to choose this path of learning and communication. What is it?
Okay. Yeah. So when you study, I think Nena can also relate to this, that when you study English, at some point you're asked to pick between language and literature.
Yeah.
That has always been my very difficult. I don't even, in fact, I because if I can take both, I'll take both. But then, in terms of research and all, I just had this. I love. Let me not even use the past tense. I love social linguistics. I love how, studying how people use language. I feel that language is a gift from God. Okay, language is a gift from God. The way we use language, even when we want to communicate with Him, when we want to be in communion or union, want to speak with, it's language that we use. And some of us even use different languages, different, whether it's we want to talk about written, spoken, verbal, non-verbal, when we're communicating. So, and then I know the importance of language. I know the importance of communication. From just the way people are communicating. I mean, even in the news and recent times, we've seen how misinformation, trouble, miscommunication can cause the people want. Someone ends up saying something or says it in a different way, and someone reads it in another light, or maybe there's a language gap and people are communicating, and because of that, things go haywire. So, when I looked at it, I felt this is, quite an interesting place to be in, to really study this. And I feel I can help people, I can help my students to navigate this path, better. Also love literature too. I mean, I can, the part of my research has me doing things or maybe study of language in literature, language in films. You get, and that's interesting where you're looking at, oh, why, I'd like to really think about it. Why would this person talk like this? Why would this person say this? What is making you speak this way? What is making you sound this way? Okay, so and there are interesting insights with that. Then I think also I really liked my English teachers in secondary school. I think they inspired me a lot. I had a very good English teacher then, Mr. Modu. A shout out to her. And then I had a good Igbo teacher then, who taught me Igbo, Miss Okeke. She inspired me a lot. So with that too, and also I mean, growing up in a family where language was also a thing, with my mom and my dad. So I've been immersed in language, and I see what language, ability to speak well, ability to communicate well, to write well, what it can do. And I just wanted to give my students this gift.
Oh, I must say you're so lucky, and especially with the way you're mentioning about your background, the way they have
Yeah.
supported you, and they've also even inspired you to love language. And also, one thing I'm also getting from your explanation is that the gap that you saw when it comes to communication. I must
Mhm.
confess here that personally I had to take a language class that is public speaking. It's relating to language, right? Because sometimes you have the ideas, you have the skills, but how you present yourself, someone who feels like not this one. So it's something that we really need. You don't take
Yes.
it lightly, right? Yeah, so over to our next question. Then I'm moving quickly in case there are questions or comments. You can just tell me to stop first. So to our next question, it's almost relating with the third question that I've asked, but I'll just ask it again. You teach communication in English and business English. So, why do you think communication skills are so important in today's world?
Okay, thank you for that. So I think I mentioned that a bit, but then going deeply into it, I mean, we use communication to um, establish relationships, communicate ideas, manage information. If you look at, there are a whole lot of things we do to communicate. When there are communication gaps, it causes problems. And what
Sure.
I think in our university, what we're trying to do is even build, apart from effective communicators, like people who are corporate gurus, workplace gurus, even from 200 level. So
Mm,
from that level, we're teaching them aspects of, persuasive communication, public speaking, email
mm,
writing, proposals, reports, how to write minutes, how to, meet and greet, how to behave in the public space, how to navigate conversations, negotiations. We're teaching them all of that. And that is very important because even in their career, they are going to need it. They are going to need it to, I tell, even the aspect of persuasive communication, your ability to persuade people to listen to you. You enter a room, or maybe you want to get a business deal. How do you communicate your ideas? How do you allow people, see your passion? That's one thing. And you look at many of the problems we have in the world today. There's this particular topic we teach dialogue, how to dialogue effectively, how to talk, both people were turn taking, etc. Just there are so many problems that I feel can be solved with effective dialogue and negotiation, where the leaders or people can just come out and dialogue. Hey, you're going to do this. Hey, what is the problem? What is the solution? So these things are important. And yes, I'm glad to actually be teaching the students this.
oh my, that is so powerful. And especially when you come now to the real world, you realize that communication is essential in every aspect of life. Is it business? You need to negotiate with your clients to persuade them to, and the only way you can do that is by the way you communicate. You can dress nicely, but what comes out of your mouth really has power. So thank you so
Power.
much, Dr. Uzoma,
Yeah.
for that. Over to you, Nana.
Communication really is a life. I think it's a life skill. Honestly,
Sure.
everyone actually affects everything from career growth to relationship with people. You understand? And so I think sometimes people just underestimate it. It is very important. It is important. And if someone out there who doesn't know this, I just want you to know that communication is so much important, and you need to look for someone who will teach you communication. You probably get plugged into the programmers DM and ask her to teach you.
Yeah, she becomes your private tutor. Pay her well.
Okay, moving forward, there's a question here, Dr. Zoma. It says, is it good to make someone in another discipline your mentor? Like, for example, a lawyer, how will it flow?
Okay, so the aspect of mentorship, I think just understand it the same way you have friends. Of course, it's possible for you to have a mentor who isn't your friend. In fact, you can even have someone who is a long distance mentor. Maybe the person may not even, I think it is possible. Some people are against this. They feel it's not possible. But it's possible to have someone you look up to. Maybe you don't talk to the person often, but you follow their work closely, you follow what they are doing closely, you know. But then think of it like friendship too. There are people who are blessed to have many friends. They have many people they call friends. But even with that space, I'm sure that they are friends for certain purposes. Okay, you know that your friends, not that the friendship is just a beneficial kind of friendship where you just want to gain things, but you know what that friend is good at. For example, a particular friend may be good at praying so well, but they may not be so good at studying. And so if you need something like a prayer advice or where to go, you're probably going to meet that person. You have another friend who is good with keeping relationships and networking, but they are not good with ideas. They are not good. You can't tell them, hey, can I run this through you or can run this by you? Like, what do you think about it? They will not give you anything good there. They'll just tell you, know what, we don't understand what you're saying. But when you need to connect to someone, you also have someone who is you like. Person who knows everyone, every place that they have good services. You want to have a good food, a good meal, you're calling that friend. You know, the friend will surely know, oh, where can I get this hair done? This particular hairstyle. That friend knows. There's that friend that knows where. But you ask that friend about probably one thing and a Bible verse. Can you okay, where do we go? Can you ask Google? So that's the same thing with mentorship. You can have someone in law, a lawyer, and you may be a teacher. You get, and but what you're getting from um that mentorship is something. Maybe it's something else. Maybe it's how they navigate their networking space, or is how they build their social media space, or it's the ability to connect to international opportunities, and they are driving you there. So you have them for different purposes. That's what I so it's possible for a lawyer to even mentor you, even if you're not in the same field as the person.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Deborah is saying that she currently has a mentor. She currently has a mentor that she hasn't met before, and then the person is far away. Oh, that's good. Okay.
Nice.
Before because of time, we're going to like check the questions and we skip some. This question is very important because we're Africans, yeah. What's the biggest challenge facing education in Africa today, and how can we tackle it?
Okay. So when I teach, I tell my students that I actually feel the aspect of effective communication and having to speak and write well. That training actually starts from secondary school. It starts from secondary school. Now, when you get to university, the university is a finishing school. So it's polishing. I know that yes, you're learning a lot of things from, but it's finishing school where you're just it's like summarizing a number of things. Now, it is very possible that you can build expert after the university, even if you didn't graduate. Good communication training. To fix it is to watch, repeat. To watch the same thing I said with writing, where you read. Now you want to communicate well to as a graduate, and you know that okay, you didn't get much, and you're probably in a field where you have to talk often. You just have watch people. Watch people. If there isn't enough data to be watching videos up and down, you can go to spaces. In fact, we're blessed with a lot of good communicators that we do not know, that we don't
Sure.
take note of. You see how do you know the skill it is when we have clergies and the reverend fathers and the pastors who are able to stand and speak to people who they don't know, and they are seeing new people daily. Those are good communicators.
Sure,
They
sure.
can
I
make you
agree.
think about your life in an instant. You have
Mm.
people talking like that. Do you know that sometimes even in our research we study, you see these guys, these street vendors who sell all these drugs and products on the road, and they are talking and they're trying to get you to buy their things, and they're saying all sorts, telling stories. That's comic. Those people are actually good comic because they will end up making you buy those things. And what
Yeah,
is
sure.
another an aspect of communication is your ability to influence. So by the time you intently watch people and you say, okay, why how is this person saying this thing? That's in terms of spoken communication. Okay, so you're listening to these people, you're watching all those things, and then you imitate. Imitate it could be you've learned something. By the time you're talking to people next, or you have somewhere to show up, you're putting in those things that you've learned, and then you're repeating it. You're repeating it very before you know it, you're already very good. Remember how they taught us nursery rhymes? It's still that process too. We learned that, we listened to our teachers, and
Mm.
then we were imitating them, we started repeating them, and then we had that into us. So this same process. It's also you do it with writing too. You weren't taught how to write well. For some people, let's say people who even use AI and ChatGPT, you go in and AI gives you uh now all those things, you can have them and it will do it well for you. You can have your essay or everything written down. But take your time to read and even understand, how is AI even constructing this thing? How are they putting the ideas together that even you yourself are believing it? So you're constantly watching how people write. You're constantly seeing it. You go on blogs, even on LinkedIn, through it and say, okay, is this how they're putting their ideas? And then you construct your own. You keep getting better at it. You keep getting, and I tell you, at some point, you will learn it. It will be part of you. It will be part of you.
Dr. Uzama, you just mentioned something, and it reminded me. Yesterday, I had gone to church, and while we were queuing, some youths were standing behind me, and I had them communicating. I was eavesdropping, so they're
Yeah.
saying like, I think at this rate, the lecturer's gonna have a really hard time because AI is everywhere. You don't even need to struggle. They give you maybe it's a project or a research you've been given. You just go there, you prompt AI, and you're good to go. So my question is, now you as lecturers,
Hello, you're
how do
breaking.
you
Can you hear
handle?
me? Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me
We
clearly?
hear you, Miss Anne. Probably her.
Uh, Dr. Uzoma, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Hello, can you
Hello.
hear
Network.
that? You're breaking.
Oh my goodness.
Hello.
Sorry. And now am I audible?
Okay.
Yes, I can hear you. I can hear you.
What about doctor?
Dr.
Can you hear me?
Sorry, I didn't get that question. Line was breaking. I didn't get that, and I
It's
didn't
okay.
get anything at all. The line was breaking all
Okay.
through.
Okay, let me come up again, right?
Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah,
Okay,
so I'm
yes.
saying yesterday I just eavesdropped a conversation of between two young men. I was standing on a queue and they were at my back. So I heard them saying that at this point with the AI thing, lecturers are going to really have a hard time. Why? Because AI is everywhere. You're given a research, you're given a project, our guests network is yes, yeah, you're given a research, you're given a project, you just go prompt AI and you have everything in place. Now my question to you as a lecturer now at the university, how do you handle this so that students are now able now
Okay.
to do honest work, something of sort, because you're now trying to build this communication thing in the real world. You not need AI to communicate, you need your brains. mm,
Yes. So I'll tell
mm,
you that what you've asked is a problem for many lecturers around the world. So many people
mm,
are referencing this. It's been a point of conversation. But here's how we
mm.
feasibly do it in our university. But it's the thing is, this may not apply to other places. First
Mm.
off, we have you. Every institution has to set a policy. It is here. It is here to stay.
Yeah,
We
sure.
cannot avoid the conversations about it. So we have to set a policy where we know, okay, even if your work, the work has AI, how many percentage of AI should be in it? What is the
Mm.
caveat where it shouldn't pass? It must not have more than 10%, it must not have more than 5%. Every university has to have that guideline. We have that in our university. Now, second is we have an inbuilt Turnitin system, detective AI detector system can detect AI easily. But is it possible for students to just go past this and escape that AI detection? Of course it is. Now the real question is, are we
Mm.
going to keep fighting students not to use AI, or students to then know how to
Mm.
use AI and know how to use
Tell
it
us.
responsibly? Now
Mm.
when we after that, then for personally for me, when this AI thing came on, I knew that, okay, yes, I have to also encourage my students to know how to use it responsibly, because they are going to go to work into workplaces and work fields where they are expected to use it responsibly, They're expected to use it to automate their work too, because I mean, even as things come up, employers know that these things have been made easy. So you have no excuse to, fall short of their expectations.
Mm.
But then I also have to grade them. The worry is now you have to grade them and grade their current knowledge where they are, and not an AI empowered knowledge. So that means we're circulating and going back to the initial system of using tests. For me, that is what I do. I'm now looking at oral conversations. I'm looking at tests, handwritten tests, more
Mm.
than having to do something. And if there's even any assessments, there are now safe modes where you can, if you leave that browser, if you leave that site, the exam is done, and completed. So we now have to, yeah, keep thinking of how are we going to ensure that what we're actually grading, what we're actually looking at is, what the students are putting in themselves. Because they have to, it's like you also know how to drive, you need to know how to drive that car. You need to know those things, even if AI can help you. Now,
Mm.
but another thing that I do, because part of what we do in EduPowered too, is that we have all this, we try to demystify the idea of AI to educators. Because most people, if you look at the underlying issue with AI,
Mm.
is fear. It's fear and
Sure.
worry that something can be so good, near human like, and it's not even human, can give you
Mm.
anything, any response, the type, just a click of your hand.
Mm.
Now, by the time you, as an educator, you demystify it well enough, then it becomes easier for you to have that communication with your students. In fact, one of the things I do is I make my students know that sometimes AI isn't always correct. I
Mm.
mean, the last our last class, we did something in class. We're having a conversation on, how Nigerians speak Nigerian English and all that. And then I asked them, we have chat GPT time. We have the time when everyone, the phones are out, no phones in class, but there are times when you're actually going to go and do research. And part of that research too is also to consult AI. And there were nuances we found out, in our class that even if, AI it could be good, but even to our Nigerian African context, sometimes it cannot give you that very, perfect response because it hasn't even been fed enough of that information.
True.
I saw it like, wow, okay, they're looking at it like, wow, it's not all that. It is all that, and it's not all that at the same time. So they have to
Mm.
also bring in their own, main knowledge. So what you're trying to do, you're demystifying it, but you're also letting them see the faults. You're letting them see that it's something that they have to build skill, to be able to use it wisely. So yes, that's how I navigate it.
Yeah, exactly. The goal is to raise a responsible citizen, not to let
Yes,
AI think on our behalf, right?
yes, yes,
Okay, thank you so much. I've really taken this watch, imitate, and repeat. That is how we learn. You watch, you imitate, you repeat. If you forget everything else that you're going to talk about here, please just don't forget the three. Watch, imitate, and repeat. So over to our next question. I will try to be so fast because of time. You have
yeah.
founded you have founded two initiatives, that is the Empowerment Initiative and the Edu Powered Initiative. I really love the name Edu. Anyway, what inspired you to start these projects? I once started a project with something Edu, so it relates. What inspired you to start these two projects?
Well, I like that you guys have done your homework to know that I started this project. Okay,
Yeah.
I think it's just my passion for education. Although there's a lot of restructuring going on with the projects and all, but everyone has access to it, and that's why I also want to applaud you and Nena as to what you're doing here, because you are actually given access to information, access to learning. I know that
Mm.
when I look at the life choices or career choices that I made, if I had many people telling me, many things at the time, I think
Mm.
some things would have been different. And mine isn't so bad. I also but there are people who I know that if they just had people telling them or pointing their way, or they had access to like what you're doing with this experts, expert exchange that you're going, and people coming in and talking and sharing their knowledge and experience, that's a huge thing. I mean, and that's one of the things that inspired me. Just having people have access to information, have people have access to these things. I mean, one or two people would live here and there's just somewhat of clarity. You're just talking and I'm just talking and I feel, oh, I'm just saying things from what I know. But one way or the other, we're giving people clarity that they didn't have at all. And that's what led me to create this, where people just have access. They don't have to be um very very wealthy or so. You just, as far as you're a human being, you should have access to quality education. Should have access to information. You should have learning opportunities that would help you scale, regardless of the class or your economic class or tribe or anything. So yes, that inspired me to put those foundations. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. As you're speaking, I just remember this famous Nigerian speaker who's a layman. His name is Ugochukwu. I think I'm pronouncing it right for those who know him. And he teaches about the principles of acquiring wealth. One thing he says, the one secret of wealth acquisition is awareness. And awareness is brought by getting knowledge, and allow the fact that one thing that pushed you is for people to be able to access knowledge. When you get knowledge, you become aware, and when you're aware, you know what to do and what not to do. You see, yeah, that is very very powerful, and thank you so much for that. So back to you, Nana. You can tell us how we're going and the next step.
Just coming to the end of the show, and I'm so inspired with all that I've heard. In fact, I don't know how to say this, but I'm going to say that you are someone that I would love to, slide into your DM, because I'm telling people to slide into your. I will be sliding into your DM, asking you to mentor me seriously because
No
I'm
problem.
inspired.
No problem. Thank you. I'm glad. I'm glad. Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to ask you the very last question, and then we end the show. Looking ahead 20 years from now, what impact do you hope your work will have on the society? What's your vision?
Uh, I mean, I've always just wanted to look back and say, you know what? I helped society be better. I
Thank
helped
you.
do God's work.
Thank you.
What God wants me to do. Um, in my in our university, one of our founders has a saying. Um, if you don't like it, don't spoil it. Like if you meet it where you meet it, don't leave it spoiled, just leave it like that. so but for me, mine is to just make it better, the space I'm
Mm.
in, wherever it is, do the Lord's work, help as much people, service to God. That's basically it. Yes.
Oh, thank
So
you.
powerful. It is said that the greatest success in this world is not about how much money you've acquired, how much resources you have, but the greatest success is seeing other people succeeding or coming to a point just because you inspired their life. Thank you so
Yes.
much, Doctor, for that.
You're welcome.
Mm,
You're
yeah.
welcome. You're welcome.
Mm.
It's a lasting impact for the future generation. It's something that
Exactly.
we can. And thank you very much, Dr. Ozoma, for what
Thank
you
you.
so we are super excited. And to the audience, thank you for tuning in and joining us once more again. We are telling you that episode 7 is going to be a lot better than episode 6. Thank you all for joining us on the show today. And we
Bye.
take care.
Bye.
Thank you so much,
Bye.
Dr. Kuzama, and I would just
Thank
love
you
to
for
encourage
having
our
me.
audience to follow you on LinkedIn. She's super, super
Yes,
amazing. I
please.
can tell you for sure you will not regret, okay? Yes.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for your time and for the data that you have shared with us.